Welcome to Just Truth. This is a forum where we talk about all sorts of current events all over the world. We've spoken about Windrush, and today I think the topic that we want to concentrate is immigration. Immigration, what's happening with Brexit, and just what's happening around the world. So we invite you to contact us via email, via any forum you can, especially via Facebook. My name is Noma Wright, and I'm here with Ash Holder.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is, as Noma said, my name is Ashburn Holder. My friends call me Ash. However, as Noma said, we're here to welcome you on Just Truth. We're here to focus on activities and local activities. We're here to focus on international activities in due course. And we're also looking at politics as well. Tonight, as Noma said, we're going to concentrate on migrants and immigration and Windrush. But in the near future, we'll be looking at a wider variety and scope on this discussion that we're going to talk about. Noma tonight is going to start on a subject on
Immigration.
Mm-hmm. So I'll let Noma start the conversation on immigration.
Okay, just recently we heard of two boats that have been refused to land in Italy. With approximately 693 migrants on board, women, children and men. They were coming from the coast of Africa, and as a result of that, the Italians have actually buttoned down their immigration policy, saying that they cannot take any more migrants that haven't been sort of processed, etc. Because of the state of their economy, they're not going to allow any more people to land in their country. As a result of that, other countries within the European Union, etc., are also following suit. France, I believe, is following suit. But the boat, for want of a better word, the boat people were actually accepted by Spain. They were accepted by Spain on the understanding that they will be there for 1 month before they are processed and then sent on. Now, what I want to actually discuss today, or discuss with the wider community today, is immigration. How has that affected you? How is that affecting your country? And just exactly, do you agree with the stance that the Italian Prime Minister has had to lock down the doors to immigrants that have not been processed? We're talking about Brexit. There's something very similar that could happen in England sort of fairly shortly. In terms of one of the main tenets of Brexit was to control our borders. Now, as a result of that, people are up in arms that the Brexit process is not following what everybody thought it would. And Theresa May seems to be in a quagmire at the moment as to whether or not she's having a hard Brexit, a soft Brexit, or whether or not Brexit is happening at all. So in terms of immigration, you've heard what has happened. What is your stance on it as a Liberal Democrat?
Well, I wouldn't go into as a politician. I'm a politician, but I wouldn't go into the politics side of it of my party I support. I represent a group we have recently started in Redbridge called the Caribbean Libertarians, and I'm the chair. So I'll speak on their behalf and what we believe in. We're a pressure group, and we believe in truth, and we believe in fairness, and we believe in challenge authority, whatever issues that faces the Africans and island Caribbean community. So talking back to what Norma just said about this ship that was sent to this different the coast of the Italy and so forth. It seems whenever it comes to our people, when it comes to Africans, it seems there's always an issue. It seems an issue when it comes to migrants. It comes an issue when you see people from Syria and all these people. And we believe, and this program is about just truth, and we talk about truth and facts. And the truth is this: whenever it comes to migrant from Africa, there's an issue, Norma. When there's an issue, when it's come to migrant from Syria, when it comes to migrant from different parts of the world, that's fine. It seems to accept them. Maybe there's one or two barriers they'll overcome, but whenever it comes to our African brothers and sisters, that's where the issue comes into it. So, is it really immigration that they're not taking any more people into the country, or is it an African issue?
When you say an African issue, do you mean, and let's use the term, is it racism?
Simple. That's exactly what it is. As far as I can see, it's basic racism. Because if you look at when we had sort of all these migrants coming over, crossing the channel from Syria, Turkey, and all these places coming into Europe. They were accepted. But when it comes to the African communities, it's an issue. I mean, I saw the clip on TV with the same ship that brought these people into Spain. And if you notice, these people was wearing face masks. You notice that? They were covered, their face were covered, as though these people got diseases or germs or whatever.
Oh, yes,
and these people are human beings.
Yes.
There's no germs.
Yeah.
I didn't see none of this happen when they had the Syrians and all this, or the Eastern Europeans was coming in. We didn't have none of that.
But there seems to be a
because as
general
Africans,
fear.
it seems straight away they all got masks and sort of, they're disease. We alienated. And things like this, if it's not racism, then what else is it?
Well, it just basic ignorance, I think. Basic ignorance of the African and the black culture. And in terms of that, what astounds me more than anything is that not more black people are actually standing up and crying out about this. I haven't heard any of the MPs cry out. David Lammy was talking about Windrush. Diane Abbott was talking on another tangent, but the black MPs that we have in Parliament today, I haven't heard any of them actually say one thing about this boat and why Spain has accepted it.
Well, you got to give credence to Spain. I think Spain has done the right thing. I think they show some humanity.
On a humanitarian level, totally agree.
Even though it's for a month before it's processed.
Yes.
It's still something that they show that they've got some humanity in them. So we got to thank them for this. However, that's not good enough. I mean, how could you have people on a boat? How long are they on the sea for?
I think there was it 2 or 3 days or something, but it took another 2 or 3 days to sail to Spain. Mothers, pregnant ladies,
Absolutely.
Children.
Yes.
It's
It's horrendous. It's disgusting.
It was,
And that's the way you treat human beings.
Exactly.
This is our people.
Yeah.
We expect better than this.
A lot
we expect
better.
Respect.
A lot better.
We expect people to treat us with dignity. But we're treated as though we don't exist. We're numbers. And this is not acceptable.
It's not acceptable, totally agree. But you have to look as to why they're leaving Africa in the first place.
Yes.
Let's go back to the core. Let's go back to the first rung. Why are they leaving? I don't hear any exit interviews as to why they're leaving, what's so bad. Can Africa not be rebuilt? Isn't it about time that the professionals and everybody that has a good resource and a good mind just looks about building Africa? Not focusing on Europe. Africa is such a rich country.
Absolutely.
What is it with the push to keep coming to Europe?
Absolutely. Africa is not only a country, it's a continent.
No, sorry, I'm corrected. Yes.
Just a slip of the tongue.
Yes, slip of the tongue. Sorry.
And that's not only what you said is true. There is an issue. There's a cause. I mean, the fundamental basic cause of people leaving one country, or leaving the continent rather of Africa, whatever it is, and come over to Europe, there must be something fundamentally wrong. What is it is wrong? I mean, look at Libya.
Yes.
I mean, look how Britain destroyed Libya.
Oh, yes.
And look at how our brothers and sisters have been treated.
Yes, exactly.
Slavery has taken them back. Instead of moving forward, they have pushed them back.
Exactly.
And the horrific scene that you see on YouTube and you see on Facebook and people saying it circulating, are treating our people like animals.
So what is the solution? What do you think the solution is? What could it be? What could it be?
Well, the solution, there must be a cause is why it's causing it.
Okay.
The cause we have to find out is what's causing these people to leave.
Yes.
Before we come to the solution. So how do we find out the cause? What we need to do, we need to go back to this country. Well, we know the cause. Let's take Libya, for example, of what's happened. We know what Cameron's done.
Yes.
So Cameron has created the issue that we have in Libya that caused our people to be in the state they're in now.
Yes.
So therefore Britain is responsible for what's happened. Now I cannot accept this nonsense that it's a war. It's no war. That is not a war. If you have a war on Colonel Gaddafi, and whatever you want to do to Colonel Gaddafi, you do it. What has the people got to do with it? What has the African brothers and sisters have to do with it? They're innocent people.
I hear you.
So
I actually hear you.
Let's go back to the cause, as you rightly said.
Yes.
Because it's the symptoms. The symptoms is Britain came, they destroyed the country, and they left the people.
But Britain's done that all over the colonies, so, you know.
Well, it's time that Britain should be held responsible, but who's going to hold Britain responsible?
Exactly. That's the point.
I mean, you can't
What are the
Brussels.
presidents doing?
I mean, what will they do?
They would charge us. They will ask for money. But you know, the presidents are not coming out. The prime ministers of Africa are not saying anything. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear a large voice. I want to hear unity. I want to hear a call for unity to African brothers and sisters, just to come together so that, you know, we can find the solution. Africa is a wealthy continent. It's got so much to give the world. You know, the seat of civilization.
Absolutely.
So, you know,
let's go back to Cameron. I'm sorry, I can't forgive this man. This man creates sort of this problem that I can see my brothers and sisters are suffering as we speak. And Obama is just as guilty. I cannot accept Obama is not guilty. Obama was part of it. I couldn't care less what color he is, what brand color is, I don't care. He was part of it. And we're speaking truth here. And he was part of it.
Okay, when you say he was part of it.
Obama was part of it, and Obama's specific words is he regret he ever went into Libya after it was done. That was his words. So he's part of it. So if he himself couldn't do anything about it.
His hands were tied.
How many his hands was tied?
His hands were tied.
His hands was tied.
He couldn't do anything about
hands
it.
Are tied.
He couldn't do anything about it. And every turn, Obama was thwarted.
We accept that. At the end of the day, Noma, I can't accept to say, how can you tell that to the people that you're destroying their lives? You're killing them. They're in slavery them. They're starving. They're hunger. Our brothers and sisters. How could you go and say to him, my hands was tied? But yet you enter their country and destroy it.
I hear you.
So I can't accept his hands was tied. He could have done better. He could have said no.
A lot of people could have done better.
He could have said no.
He could have, but he didn't.
Well, there you go then. So how his hands was tied.
So what's the solution?
I'm not accepting that.
You don't have
He's
to accept it.
He's just as guilty. However, it's said and done. We got a situation. We'll come back to Windrush in a minute. That's another problem.
Okay.
But my main concern is what's happening to our African brothers and sisters in Libya. Nobody's saying nothing about it, and as you rightly said, the MPs are not talking about it.
No.
And as you rightly said, we are not seeing, even our African brothers and sisters in this country are doing nothing. It's not even airing a voice about what's happening.
Well, I haven't heard anything.
I'm a member of Stand Up for Racism.
Yes.
And whenever they talk about issues that faces tribes, strafes, countries, etc.,
yes,
I stand up for Libya and people in Libya, and I stand up and say we have an issue. We need more help. I mean, if we go to France, the people that's living in Calais, is it? Am I right?
Yeah, Calais.
I mean, if you see the state of those children, those black kids, these are children which has been brought over, or hopefully something like that. But let's go back to Libya. My concern is what's happening in Libya. That concerns me dearly, and it really upsets me when I see what's happening to our people there. So how are we going to pressure Parliament? How are we going to mobilize the African community to do something about this, to hear the voice, to be standing out in front of Parliament?
Well, the only way we can do it is just very much, or very similar to what happened when South Africa, all the lobby groups, people were standing at the embassies. There were boycotts and all sorts of things. So in order to do that, there are a lot of fractions, a lot of little groups all over. We need to actually form one big party, one big lobby group, so that we can actually do something en masse. As a unified force, to do something.
Yeah, having a group, you have power. But the thing I find about my African brothers and sisters is that they seem to have this little different forums, little sort of diasporas, having little groups here and groups there. And as you rightly said, they need to come together, and they need to have one, as you rightly said, outside Parliament as a number 10, and say we need to speak up for these people in Libya.
Exactly.
We got problems here. We know we got enough problems there, but we cannot see our brothers and sisters are treated like dirt.
Exactly.
In that neck of the woods.
Again and again and again, and still, there has to be an end to this.
Absolutely.
Really,
definitely.
There has to be an end to this.
So we're asking, ladies and gentlemen, we're asking you outside to continue to send us your email, send us your questions, tell us how we can help you or how you can be part of us, so that we can mobilize together and actually
do something.
Absolutely.
Absolutely do something. Go say, so, just hanging on that last sentence, you said send an email, but you didn't give an email address.
Yes, absolutely.
So the email address?
I'll leave that to you, Noma.
The email address is hardtalkdiplomacy@gmail.com. And I'll repeat it just so that you know that this is a genuine email address to take questions, to take comments, in terms of the lobby group that we're forming, the Caribbean Libertarians, and also our focus group, Hard Talk Diplomacy. So the email address, once more, is hardtalkdiplomacy@gmail.com. So we're looking forward to hearing from you.
And also, can I just go back to what Norma just said a while ago? Africa is so rich. I'll repeat that again. Africa is so rich. The West depends on Africa for its raw material. The West depends on Africa for the wood that we use, mahogany. The West depends on Africa. The West depends on Africa for the minerals, the rich minerals that they have got. At least 21 minerals in one part of Africa alone. The core minerals that they have, the West depends on that. The West, and not only the West, we're looking at places like, as far as
the Congo?
Not the Congo, I'm thinking of Israel.
Mm.
Israel owns the diamond mine in the Congo. Why is it that the community cannot share the wealth of the Congo? Why is it that the community cannot share the wealth of the oil we have in Africa? Why is it the people of Africa, the native people of Africa, cannot share the wealth of not only oil, platinum, gold, all these materials we have, the core materials that makes our iPhone, which Apple uses, Norma?
Cobalt.
Absolutely. Why can't we not share or give back to some people? Why is it that Africa cannot, or the West, cannot say to the people of Africa, we'll give you what we call the basic income?
The basic income, as the
From the
Finland
wealth.
model? The Finland model?
Absolutely.
So I was listening to you with interest, and just let you speak for a while, because I totally concur with your statement, is that the West needs Africa. The Africa has more oil under the basin of Africa than Saudi. Just that country that controls the oil market.
Yeah.
As you said, the diamonds, the minerals, the wealth, the gold. Africa is the seat of richness that is controlled by the West and by Europe. And, of course, as you said, Israel. So now is the time. This is now the 21st century. We're moving sort of far ahead in terms of communication, television. Africa has more universities. The very first university that's ever recorded was in Africa. So what is Africa doing with all the knowledge, with all the young people that we have, the MBAs, the doctors, all this? Why is Africa not moving forward?
Why is Africa so poor?
Yeah.
Why is Africa starving?
Yes.
Why is Africa starving in the 21st century? Why is it that we still see in our media television that they're advertising on behalf of Africans, like the Red Cross and so forth, to create charity, to feed a rich country that's got the resources that the West needs? Why is that?
Back to front politics. That's the only way I can describe it.
So we are speaking truth this evening. This program is about truth and facts.
Nothing but the truth.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So we're asking this question. We want you to send us questions. We want you to ask us this question.
Totally.
Why is it Africa is hungry? Why is Africa starving? We want you to write to us and let us know your opinion. What do you think?
Yes.
What can be changed, Norma? What can our people, or African people in this country, do to change this?
They can do a lot, and I concur that they can do a lot more than they're doing at the moment. So let's hear from you. We are determined to bring in the changes that the diaspora needs. So, yeah.
The other thing we've got to consider, it seems when it comes to the Africans and island Caribbean, we seem to have a laid-back attitude. we tend to sit back and think someone else is going to do it for us. We tend to sit back and think, it's not my problem. I'm okay in this country.
But
and I think absolutely you're not.
Yeah.
But not only this, Noma. I believe, that's my personal opinion, Noma, is that the Africans and island Caribbeans, they live in a fear society. They're scared to actually come forward. They're scared that if they speak out, they'll be targeted. But so what if they target you?
Wasn't Nelson Mandela targeted?
Absolutely.
Wasn't Winnie Mandela targeted?
Right.
Steve Biko?
And
But
so
changes were made.
and the list goes on, Norma. So why is it that your voice matters? Your voice plays a massive role in this country. Talk to your local MPs, lobby your MPs, lobby your councillors. Your voting has got so much power, Norma. People don't realise the power they have if they vote before they decide to vote.
That's another thing.
Perfect way.
I think the UK Prime Minister, Theresa May, and I always call for her resignation because I'm totally appalled with what's going on. But do you not think that there are elements of movement towards an October general election? In terms of what she has now done, she's relaxed the laws in terms of bringing more immigrant doctors into the UK. And just the immigration policy, the shambles that it is with Windrush, etc. But she's moving in terms of putting more money into the NHS, into being more popular with the voting, with the electorate. But this is where we have to tell her that whatever she's doing is not acceptable.
Absolutely. And let's go back. Let's go back to what Noma sort of said. We're going back. I'm sorry. I must go back to my brothers and sisters, because my brothers and sisters in Africa. I'm Caribbean, by the way, but my ancestors came from Africa. So it's Noma. At the end of the day, this is our people, and we need to stand together as a united front and fight. So whatever the subject is, whatever the problem is worldwide, wherever it's affecting our people, no matter where it is, nationally, internationally, home, not at home, we are there to stand up for the rights of our people.
Of course.
We're here to stand up for truth.
Yes, nothing but the truth again.
The truth. So we're asking you to get involved. Contact us. Contact Noma. Talk to us. So back to what you said, the migrant issue we have, the Windrush issue. We can't let this slip away.
No, I think since the last broadcast, we were at the House of Commons, listening to the Select Committee and the Home Secretary and the gentleman that was sitting next to him, Mr. Wilson.
He was absolutely
the excuses
ridiculous.
that we listened to was just abominable. The Home Secretary was at the verge of actually admitting that whatever has happened has been a grave mistake. The two case studies that we listened to whilst we were attending the Select Committee was just showed the appalling lack of communication, lack of paying attention to detail, lack of listening to MPs that had actually written on behalf of the constituents and given the facts and all the evidence. The evidence that the Home Secretary's department called, or the Home Office called for, time and time again, so that the applicants could prove that they were British citizens, was given on at least 3 separate occasions. And the information was ignored, and people were deported, pulled off the streets, taken from their home, deported.
Not only deported, this people was in sort of detention. And the minister himself didn't have a clue. He didn't even actually read the document, because when he was questioned about the document, he didn't know where to find it.
Didn't know where to find it, not on page 1, 2 or 3, and it was perfectly plain. The evidence was still laid out there.
And he couldn't answer none of the questions.
Couldn't answer none of the questions.
When they asked him to change the page to find out which one he was
bemused, absolutely bemused. But in saying that, Windrush must not be left to rest.
Absolutely.
There are people currently in detention as we speak that I believe should be released.
And still being deported, sorry to interject.
And still being deported, as well. So, Windrush and the Home Office and the whole immigration policy of the UK needs to be reviewed, rewritten.
Absolutely.
And it's
We
just...
got to keep on fighting. We got to keep on pressurizing our
Yes.
Prime Minister about this. We cannot let this thing just slip in the grapevine. We just move on. We're not going to allow it. We're not going to let it happen, and we're going to keep on fighting.
Exactly.
It's important that we win this, Norma. If we
Yes.
don't win this, what's going to happen to the migrants of Africans is the next. If they treat migrants from the Caribbean, which was invited to come to this country from the outset, and they were British subjects.
Yes.
From the outset, they were British. They had British passports.
Yes.
But yet you destroy. I'm sorry, I've got to repeat that again, so you understand that. Theresa May, when she was the Home Secretary, she destroyed 50,000 of the landing cards. That's the information, knowing these people were British.
No, not only that, evidence.
Absolutely.
It points to evidence.
Right.
Yes.
And on top of that, after making these people, according to them, they're now immigrants, not migrants anymore.
Yeah.
They weren't welcome in the first place, being that the British asked them to come over. You're now saying to them that we now destroy your your landing card and all the data. We can't trace you.
No.
How
Prove
can
it.
how can you not trace them? They went to school here, for heaven's sake, Norms. Didn't they?
Yeah. They will have health records.
Absolutely.
They will have dental records.
Right.
They will have school attendance
Right.
records.
Yeah.
You know, so how can they not? They
So
don't want
that's
to.
deliberate racism.
They don't
That's
want
what it
to.
is. It's racism.
No,
Call it whatever you want to.
I would even
it
go
is racism.
further. Ethnic cleansing.
There you go.
I would just call it a form
There
of
you go.
ethnic cleansing.
There
And
you go.
you know, it's just
It's appalling.
disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
People-
As I said, at heart, I am a conservative, former conservative district councillor, former conservative parliamentary candidate, prospective parliamentary candidate. And I am absolutely disgusted.
Yeah.
I've looked at other parties, Lib Dems, not for me. Labour Party, definitely not for me. And I'm definitely not a Green person. So I am a conservative with a small c. And I think I'm on the far, far, far right of the conservative wing. I don't want to be main ground, but I'm calling from the back annals, I'm calling from the hallways of conservatism to actually say, we have a chance to put this right.
Absolutely.
We have a
Yes.
chance to do something that matters. In the Home Secretary, Saved Jahed, said that he wants
yeah.
to be a more compassionate
Yes,
Home
that's what he
Secretary.
said in Parliament,
Okay,
yeah.
his compassion was overturned by Theresa May. So what does that say about the Prime Minister?
Yes.
This poor
Hypocrisy, that's what it is. Simple.
hypocrisy. But this poor. Let me just finish the point a minute, Mr. Holder.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Carry on.
The compassion that was shown to this poor little boy that was undergoing fits and seizures as a result of not having his medical marijuana. And the compassion that has just been shown to this little boy is only for a period of 20 days.
Yes.
After that compassion runs out, what do you think will happen? We're back at square one. So not only do we have to look at immigration, we have to look at the medicinal part of immigration. Exactly what can be brought in, what should be brought in, what relaxes should be made to the drugs laws. There's so many things that this government needs to look at, and I think we're calling for an urgent review of conservative policies now.
And if I can just expand on what my dear friend Noma said about liberal. Yes, I'm a liberal. But tonight I'm speaking on behalf of the Caribbean libertarian. I'm not talking about liberal Democrats. My personal issue about the politics with Lib Dem, I'd rather not go any further than this.
But they don't even have an immigration policy, do they?
I won't even go down that road. I will not go down that road. I'm not here to talk about politics, and I wouldn't go down that road with politics neither. My concern this evening is to talk about our people, to talk about the African and island Caribbean people, the issues that they face, the problem that they face, not only domestic, problem in housing, in problem in sort of schools, in problem in the expulsion of our children, in jobs for our children. We're talking about knife crimes, and we're talking about issues that our children face in this country. However, tonight the subject we're speaking about is about the immigrants that's facing the problems that they face in Spain, as we spoke about, and other issues that we spoke about today. We spoke about Parliament, where we spoke about the minister was actually answering those questions.
Yes,
and this
at the
poor
select
guy,
committee.
a select committee, and he
Yeah.
was just struggling. He couldn't answer none of the questions
No.
that was put to him.
The excuse was, I think, and he used the phrase over and over again, I'm new to this job.
Yeah.
He's new, but he's taken on a job. He should have been briefed. He should be briefed.
He should have read the information. He
Of
should have read the
course.
document. It's not if he came unprepared. In fact, he didn't have a clue, did he? Really?
No.
He came and he sat there and he was just talking. He was just blabbing around nonsense.
No.
He actually didn't know what he was talking about.
Exactly.
So therefore, we need to address that. That if Noma, and I say that for big if in the Home Office they do not read documents that's been sent to them by the ministers, which the ministers are there to represent us, if they themselves don't read the documentation, what chance have we got?
Absolutely none. As you can see, you know, the way that the Windrush applicants and the Windrush successors have been dealt with by this government
Yeah.
is nothing short of absolutely appalling.
Racism. I call it racism, and I'm going to emphasize the word racism. It's pure racism. If that was a different community, they would address it differently. Whenever it comes to Africans and island Caribbean, there's an issue. And not only an issue, we have an issue in the justice system, where our children are being
Over penalised?
there you go,
Over penalised.
there you go,
Over sentenced.
there you go,
Yeah.
there you go, overrepresented,
In the jail community.
there you go.
Yeah.
What else can we think about the justice system with our children?
That's unfair. Stop and search. Do we need to go there?
Right. So that's another subject we need to talk about soon. The justice system
Yes.
and how it manipulates our children, the disproportionality of how our children are suffering
Yes.
in the prison justice system.
Yeah. So that's next time. So please write into us, you know, hardtalkdiplomacy@gmail.com with the problems you're experiencing, so that we can talk, we can discuss, and we can discuss this
That is
using
about
just the plain
this
truth.
is about just truth.
Just
This
truth.
is what all about. We're about truth. And I'm sorry to interject, Noma. Sorry to cut you, but we must say that. We must emphasize that. Just truth. We're talking truth.
Yes.
And if you don't like the truth, then I suggest you switch off. But if you believe in the truth, join Noma and myself next week. Same time, same place.
But don't switch off. Just keep listening, because you might learn
Send us
the
your
truth.
questions.
Yes.
Just truth.
Thank you.